Hello, welcome back to Stripey Cam on the making of the two rings. Just to recap where we've been, in the last episode we covered all of the marking out of the block using templates and whatever else we needed, and then we proceeded to use a bandsaw to remove the major part of the timber that wasn't required from the block. Once that was done, we once again used the template just to ensure that we left sufficient wood to extract the rings from the block. And here you can see the completed block ready to go into the final stages of extracting the rings. And here's a drawing of the drilling pattern that you need to follow in order to extract these rings successfully.
We've got to mark out this block again with our template, put it down, and we can draw around this, and then this is cut on the bandsaw. Having cut that, now we're left with cutting out the centre. You can see where I have it marked, and we must stay inside these marks here where it's highlighted, and these holes are drilled all the way.
Just straight holes?
Straight holes, yeah, just straight holes right down. Now, to get through to the other side, there's one block we've got to get into. We've got to go down at this angle. So,
Which is 45 degrees?
it's an angle of 45 degrees, and this is a critical angle. Marked there. And we must be very precise with this angle. Don't touch either of those two rings. That's a very critical angle then. Now, having drilled that out, we're now at the stage of separating the two rings. Now, there are probably many ways we can do this, but I wasn't so good having to go for it. So, just with the chisel, chop it out. We'll work all the way around.
It's now over to the disc and belt sander to tidy up the rings as much as possible to make things easier when the rings go onto the lathe for the final sanding down to the specification dimensions. Here you see Frankie just trimming down some of the outer edges of the rings to make it easier when he is in the lathe doing all this work. You've got a little bit less to sand. As you'll see, the sanding is also a long job and takes a lot of time. And this is where Frankie is using the oscillating spindle grinder, and you can see him now where he is sanding the inside of the rings, and this is going to allow him to get more movement or more clearance between each ring, making it a far easier job to get the correct profile in the sanding. You can see here now he's got a little bit more room to get his chisel in there if he wishes to, and you can see that the comparison between how the rings look now from the actual starting block, where you can see that he's picked up now. This is another one. You can see how rough it is when you chip it out, and that's where he's up to now. At this point he's heading off to the lathe, and you can see now his attachment. It has the three convex rollers all lined up and driven by rebelt that Frankie will explain to you shortly. And there you can see the rings perfectly positioned in the attachment, and here he is ready to go. So we'll leave that for Frankie to explain it to you for now.
Now we're setting up for turning on the lathe. You can see where pulleys are driven by the headstock. We've got a live centre and running on 3 spools. We've got one block that is held down here, this bottom ring is held stationary and the top one is free to move. That'll give us the outside of the ring, the inside. Now to go right into the inside of the ring, try this one. Check, see how we're going for a round. Work our way down gradually. And we'll have a look at the other ring now.
Always cut bits out.
Yeah, that's all. Check now their template, see how we're off for size, and check it on the inside. Check it all the way around. Now you need to keep checking this. And final check on your rings, you can always check against your template. Now, check it with your hands to feel it that you've got a nice smooth finish all the way around, both rings. And I've brought these down to a 400 grit, so it's pretty smooth. Now I use this rub-on finish. This is the one that I use. And I find that working with two rings when they're touching something like this is easier to use. So a few coats of this, 3 or 4 coats. And comes up with a nice shine. Now if we're using camphor laurel, it brings out the grain of the wood. See the grain coming out nicely with this. beautiful shine of the blade. A little bit messy, but with 2 rings, the rub-on is ideal for a finish like this.